All right, everybody, here we are kicking off the week on Monday, a pretty rainy Monday where I'm at. It is our first episode of the week on spilling the anxiety. I don't remember what episode I'm up to, but if y'all been counting, somebody let me know. So this rainy Monday, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I kind of had a hard time coming up with topics. When you talk shit so often, it just starts to release. There ain't much to talk about. But lucky for y'all, I never run out. So today's topic is going to be humiliation. I was talking with my best friend about this the other day, and that's what it was. I caught an article where they were talking about how like Johnny Depp was like ridiculously laughing throughout his his testimony and the testimony of others. And I ran into this like really stupid video on TikTok of like this woman farting while she was testifying against Johnny Depp. I was reading the comments and people were like, I would just die. And I remember I was talking to my best friend and I was like, oh God, I would legitimately just like I would either walk out and never talk to anybody ever again, or I would just laugh hysterically until I probably just couldn't breathe anymore. I probably would pass away on the stand. So we got to talking about it, and I realized while that is a valid embarrassment, there is very little that I am embarrassed by at my age. And I don't know if it has anything to do with getting older, but I feel like as time has gone by, my level of what I consider humiliation and what would actually cause me to feel embarrassed in front of people, it has gone down. I don't know if it has something to do with age or just how I've prioritized things in my life. But we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, I'm going to talk to you about some of the most humiliating moments in my life. Stay tuned. All right, everybody, and we're back. So, during that little hiatus, I was actually considering what has really embarrassed me in my life. And it's my levels of embarrassment have they've ebbed and flowed with like the chapters of my life. I think it's been a steady decline in what is really considered embarrassing. I mean, when I was a kid, it's something like not having money to, I guess, go out for like after school food with my friends. Like, it was a little bit embarrassing, but it wasn't the worst. I guess it's just because we were kids and it really fell on like your parents. Now, being recognized as somebody who was like poor, yes, it was embarrassing, which now what I would consider embarrassing as somebody being poor isn't necessarily, being poor isn't the problem, because there's a difference between poor and broke. Poor is very much so a mentality. Poor is very much so just like it's attests more to your quality of living as opposed to the money in your pockets. It has a broader definition. Being broke for me is like, I really don't have spending money to order outside or to do anything like that, but my bills are paid, and then there's like broke, which means I'm running from creditors. So there is the things that used to embarrass me are not so much anymore. And trust me, when you are a kid, I feel like both genders experience different levels of embarrassment and humiliation. But when you're a young girl, God, that's a fresh kind of hell for you. I remember so when I was in, was it 8th grade? I think it was 8th grade. So I used to play the drums at this program that was called the Bronx Salute to Music. And honestly, it might have been like the best year of my life because I got an opportunity to do what I loved the most at the time, which was playing percussion. For those of you geniuses that don't know what that is, it is pretty much any instrument that you can hit to make a sound. For me, it was drums, all type of drums. I was a pretty savage drummer. I even got to play at Carnegie Hall that year. So there was this boy named Sam. And I had a crush on Sam. Not particularly, all right, this is like Sam, I'm so sorry if you're listening to this, which I highly doubt because I'm an absolute nobody. But when this blows up, you may just catch wind if you even remember who I am. So I'm sorry, Sam. But I was not attracted to him because he was attractive at all. If anything, he was slightly unfortunate looking. He had very ill-kept teeth, which, for those of you that watch this, I mean, my teeth aren't the finest, but it was just very crowded. It had and he had this birthmark on his face. It wasn't even a birthmark. It was like a mole on his face. He wasn't it. Okay, so it definitely wasn't, I guess my point is it wasn't a physical attraction. But my thing with Sam was that he was a phenomenal drummer. Oh my God, his hands moved at like lightning speed. And he was like slightly older and didn't go to my school. So I was absolutely enamored with his skill in music. Anyway, so Sam fell into the category. I am not ashamed to say this whatsoever, but I am most definitely attracted to brothers. Okay, that's just me. That's my type. Like me some Nesquik, chocolate Nesquik. That's where I'm at. So Sam was a young black man with musical talent that was amazing. And so that really caught my attention. Now, like I said, Sam was a little bit older. I believe he was a freshman in high school and I was a senior in middle school. So I was very attracted to him, and I only saw him on Saturdays when we went to this program outside of school. Now, we went to this program on Allerton Avenue, and around the corner, maybe like, we used to get a lunch break, and around the corner there was a McDonald's. So one day, I have enough money in my pocket, I saved. I don't know why I am this person, but I went ahead and I offered to buy Sam breakfast at McDonald's because I was like, okay, well, who turns down free breakfast, right? And we go in and he gets some sort of, I don't even remember what he got. I don't remember what I got either, except for the fact that it had egg in it. Why do I remember this? Because as I am talking to Sam about just me, about my life, because he asks me, I was talking to him and I was talking so fast that a piece of egg flew out of my mouth and onto the wrapper where his sandwich was. That was the end of my courtship with Sam effectively. I don't think he made me feel, I could see the disgust on his face. I could see it. And he tried to hide it, which I guess is a very gentlemanly thing to do, but I was absolutely mortified. I didn't go to the program for like 2 weeks. And I was very thankful that he didn't go to my school. And then at the time, like I forgot what cell phone I had. I think I still had like a flip phone. But back then there were like no unlimited plans. So I didn't even like give out my number. And all I had, I think, was AIM. And I did not have him on AIM. So there was no way for me to get in contact with this person, thank God, because I was like, oh, we can never see each other ever again. By some grace of God, I don't know why, I came back and Sam was gone. And I mean, I don't want to believe it was because of me, because he was just as mortified as I was. But it definitely was like the rest of the fucking morning was so awkward. It was so bad. And believe it or not, that is not my first spit-related incidents with humiliation and a boy that I like. Go back like 2 years earlier, there was this boy named Eric and again, I'm sorry, Eric, if you're listening. And I had like the meanest crush on him because even in the 6th grade, he was like lithe, dark skinned, athletic looking. He had an earring in his ear. He had a twin sister named Chioma. And she was, I mean, I guess I was cool with her, but I had like the meanest crush on her brother. I never told him anything, although my problem is that everything is written on my face, and I think it's always been that way. I am terrible with dealing with the thoughts that I have inside my head. They all just come spilling out, and I have absolutely no social etiquette or tact. I'm entirely politically incorrect. So I was talking to him and we were like doing an after school activity, and we were in Miss Salmatia's classroom, and I was talking to him about something finally, like one of the very few times that he addressed me. And I was just talking and a huge glob of spit goes on the flyer that he's like folding. And I was just like, fuck, man, what's my problem? Like I couldn't even stomach that just happened. I literally just walked out of the classroom. I didn't come back. I went home early. So these are the things that humiliated me as a teenager. A preteen, let's put it that way. As I got older, like there was stuff like still have terrible BO for a woman. I really, really, really do. I'm talking about I'll get out the shower, towel down, put on my pajamas. I am already starting to smell if I don't have deodorant on. Everybody has a thing. If you say you don't have a thing, then you're a fucking liar. Everybody has a thing. My thing is I need to keep deodorant on deck. And I'm talking about I buy deodorant in bulk because my ass will never be caught stepping out my house without deodorant. I think the one time that I did, I was also in middle school, and I thought that the best solution to this problem on a very hot day was to wear a hoodie that was extra thick because in my mind it would like contain the smell. It did not. Somebody called me out on it who sat behind me, and it was embarrassing. It was so embarrassing. I think the only embarrassment that I didn't experience as a young female was bleeding through my pants during that time of the month. Although I do know somebody who did, and I empathized with her. I really did. I was just like, oh, you got to change schools now because shit is crazy now. Everybody just knows. So I think that I want to keep this in mind because I have 2 daughters, that the things that I went through that were embarrassing to me, which were my experience with boys, my experience with womanly issues. My oldest daughter has my same problem. Like, she's been using deodorant since she was a year and a half. And for all of you fucking trolls who say that kids are not supposed to wear deodorant, please go die. My kid she still has very strong, and I'm talking about not even like my BO, I'm talking about like a grown ass man who's been working out 3 hours in the gym BO. I've had her tested for hormones. I've had her for hormone imbalances, excuse me. And I've tested her for just about everything under the sun that could potentially be causing this BO. And it seems like it's just a genetic issue. It's something that she got from me. So I found like all natural deodorants and all natural remedies, and I've been using it on her, and she already knows when she steps out the shower, she grabs her deodorant and she puts it on. So I want to spare her the embarrassments that I went through, but embarrassment is inevitable if you are just, you out here doing your thing. So I wanted to talk about humiliation because I think that it gets different. Those little things, I feel like they don't really matter as you get older. And that's not to say that I would not be embarrassed if I spit on somebody today by accident, like I'm talking and just like spit flies out of my mouth and lands on like their face or something. Or if I went outside and I didn't have deodorant on, I just think that my level of care would be less. Like, all right, well, fuck you. I didn't wear deodorant today. Fucking get a grip. Like, why the hell do you care so much what I smell like? Like we're just sitting here hanging out with my armpit in your face. That's not happening. I'm going to excuse myself because I'm an adult, and also because I'm an adult, I can remove myself from the situation, and I have money in my card to go buy deodorant if I need it. I can excuse myself to the bathroom or do something about it. I know how to handle these circumstances, and I don't even get embarrassed around men. I really don't. Maybe it's just because I care what none of them think, but I am unapologetically myself. That is the best way to put it. I am, at my age, unapologetically me. I will not apologize to you for my shortcomings as a person. I am not going to apologize. Like, when I was a kid, I used to keep things in because I was afraid of how they would make people feel or how they would make people react. And I kept all of that to myself, and I kept that suffering to myself. I legitimately went through most of middle school with a crush on my male best friend, and everybody knew it but him. And instead of just saying, hey, I like you and this is it, whatever, because I mean, I was a pretty fugly kid, but I felt like, oh my God, I can't tell him nothing because I don't want him to see me this way, and I don't want him I don't want to embarrass him, and I don't want, the rejection. I could absolutely care less about rejection now. And that's because I just don't put myself out there anymore. There's no need to. I think that if I have a strong opinion about you, I'm not going to give a fuck about your feelings. I'm not going to, it's not that I don't give a fuck about your feelings. It's just that however you feel doesn't change what I have to say. If I want to tell you, hey, listen, you're making me uncomfortable because you're doing XYZ, or I know that you think that this is a really good idea, but it's really not. I'm not going to keep that to myself and make myself uncomfortable to make you feel like a bigger or a better person. I used to be embarrassed because I experienced feelings. Like, I would be like, oh my God, I can't tell, this boy how I feel because I like him. And what if he doesn't like me? Oh my God, that's so embarrassing. Or, oh my God, I really don't want to do this activity that everybody thinks is so cool, but I don't want everybody to think that I'm not cool, so I'm not going to do it. I could care less about that now. And it comes with age. It really just does. I think that maybe that's part of the reason why I'm such an isolated individual, but I don't go well with the flow. I'm not a fucking river. If I was meant to be one, then I wouldn't be here today. I say things all the time with absolutely no filter and no tact. I am not ashamed to say that I will not kiss your ass to do absolutely anything, which again, it has lost me opportunities and it just gained me new ones. In my last job, my boss didn't appreciate that. In my new job, my boss is like, yes, we love openness around here. Great job. I will point out the things that everybody is afraid to talk about. And I used to, in my relationship with my kid's father, there were things that I didn't want to say because I was embarrassed that I was just feeling them, which made no sense. And or I didn't want to start a fight, or I didn't want to whatever. I don't really care anymore. I need you to know how I'm feeling. I'm not embarrassed that I'm going to be the starter of an argument, which why I would start an argument, God knows why, because me feeling something that is contradictory to how you think or feel shouldn't start an argument whatsoever. But if it does, well, fuck it, we're here. I'm not even going to apologize for losing your friendship or your relationship or whatever it is, because if you feel that for some reason I owe you an apology, well, then you're fucking misguided and you're extremely immature and you've got some growing up to do, because people are allowed to have contradicting opinions and not have to apologize for it. So I will take a break now to take a breather, because I feel like that was a lot. And then I am going to come back and I'm going to let you guys know some of the, I guess, humiliating experiences that I experienced as I got older. Like the things that really matter to me now that would be actually embarrassing. Stay tuned. All right, y'all, we are back. That was more revealing of myself than I ever had. Trust me, I do have further embarrassing moments, but there are just some, like, you gotta draw the line somewhere. I can't tell y'all every single embarrassing moment, even like the really bad ones. I mean, the ones that I've said are already pretty bad, but trust me, it gets so much worse. As I got older, I think that it wasn't until I was in a committed relationship with my kid's father that I feel like there were other things that embarrassed me on a different level. I don't really even know how to describe. Now, at this point, I was still very much so. I met him when I was 18. There was still very much so a lot of things that I wasn't unapologetically me yet. Okay, I was very much so, I'm sorry for existing me. If I even so much as breathe too loud, I'll be like, oh my God, that's so embarrassing. And I think that as the things that got embarrassing to me as I got older when I was in this committed relationship were like, I was embarrassed to admit that maybe the relationship wasn't as glamorous as I wanted it to be. I think the people hear that you're in a relationship and they're just like, they have this picture perfect image of what it's supposed to be. And it wasn't like that for me. It wasn't no Cinderella story. It wasn't a rom-com. It wasn't any of that shit. It was actually like super real. And there were things about it that I wasn't really aware of. To this day, and I will say this with all the honesty in the world, aside from giving birth or other pregnancy related symptoms that I could not control, I have known this man for 9 years and I have never once voluntarily farted in front of him. Swear to God, I don't even think he knows I'm capable of shitting. We have lived together, and it is like my asshole gets sewn shut when he is around. Okay, because this to me would be embarrassing. It's like it eliminates the mystery. Okay, it just, I don't know. Now, mind you, the reason why I say non-pregnancy related is because when I first got pregnant with my first, I'll never forget this. We were inside the exam room. I was waiting for a sonogram, and I was at that stage of my pregnancy where I was just like silent but deadly all the fucking time, bro. Like anything I ate, and then the only thing I wanted was like Frosted Flakes and broccoli. So I was just not doing well at all in the digestive department. And we were inside the room, and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to the bathroom." And I was like, "Okay, great." When he left, I kind of, let one slip out. And I was just like, oh my God, because my stomach's really bothering me. Don't know why he came back into the room not 5 fucking seconds later talking about, oh, you know what, I'll just hold it in. We were both sitting in the room. I could smell it. I knew that he could smell it. Okay, but we ain't say shit to each other. He didn't call me out. I didn't apologize. Just nothing. I just sat there with my face turning so red. Okay, they could have... Man, it looked like somebody threw tomato sauce on my face. Okay, it was just the worst. That is probably the closest I've come to being embarrassed over that. And I think like once more in high school. Because I farted in front of everybody, but it was at the gym. So I don't think anybody heard me. And if anybody did, they didn't really call me out on it. But that was what triggered actually this whole topic. Because the lady farting during the Johnny Depp trial testimony thing. Now, the things that humiliate me now that I've grown as a person, it might still be farts. It's definitely like that's up there. But I don't think... I'm trying to think of why some people find certain things so humiliating. Like, in order for you to be humiliated by something, you need to care about what other people think. And I think that is where I've succeeded. I don't care about... There are very few people who I care about, like, what you think and what you have to say. But I think that as with time and experience, I have clothes that have like, stains. I've gone to drop my children off. Now, I do not condone this whatsoever. Looking absolutely hit when you drop your children off, because to some degree, you don't want like your kids' friends to be like, why is your mom so fucking ratchet? Like, why does she look like that? But I have stepped out of the house certain times in absolutely what I went to sleep in. I'm stepping into my car, I'm dropping my kids off and, at the front of the school, and I'm going back home. If a teacher wants to talk to me, then it's like, all right, whatever. I'm standing here just like this. I had a job interview the other day, and mind you, these are people that have seen me drop off my kids with like my hair looking like Diana Ross, and not the good kind. I definitely cannot pull off Diana Ross. And in stained pajamas, like pasta sauce stained pajamas, because for some reason I only drop fucking food on myself when it's pasta. And they have seen me look like this. Now, mind you, I am now going to their establishment seeking employment. So when she said, you can come by tomorrow for an interview, she said this to me as I had mussed up hair, stitch joggers on and like a shirt that was just very obviously stained previously from various foods. I was like, all right, whatever. I wasn't anticipating this happening right now, but she flagged me down and was like, hey, I really wish you would have called me, but here we are. So when I show up to the job interview, I have my hair slicked back in a bun. It's all presentable. I didn't even just do a regular bun. I did a bun with a donut. Okay, that shit looked fire. Okay, and I had a long skirt. I had a black shirt. I had on one of those cute little, you call them chalecos, like the little jacket, the mini jacket that you put on to just cover your shoulders, but it's not really a blazer. So I was like, okay, good. I'm looking good. I go and I sit down in front of the lady and I do blah, 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 XYZ. And she was like, hey, you look a little bit nervous. Like, are you okay? And I was like, girl, I'm going to be totally honest with you. Y'all see me drop off my kid here every morning. I had to dig up this outfit, okay, and really put some effort into how I look in front of you to look somewhat presentable. But it's hard when you've already seen how I look just in my everyday. And I feel like that's the equivalent to, you running into a coworker outside, like you at the club or something, but like your regular job is like you're a cop or something, and you're always in uniform and you're always very prim and proper, and then you run into someone at like the bar or the club, somebody that you work with, and they see you in your outside gear and you're just like, holy shit. You can never see that person the same again, except in this situation, they saw me in my interview gear, and then they know what I look like when I'm just regular, bumming it out, sweatpants, hair tied, chilling with no makeup on game. Thank you, Drake, for the reference that I will forever use for my bummy states. Now, I didn't feel embarrassed by this, that she had seen what I looked like on my phone, but it was kind of just like, damn, that's a tough one. All right. There's the kind of embarrassed that I get now is bearing my soul to somebody who doesn't appreciate it. Having the courage to come to you and tell you, this is what really upset me. I know that this could start a fight. I know that this could start an argument. This is really how I feel about this topic, even though before I tried to play it off. And then you brushing it off like it doesn't matter. Because I'm a person and what I feel does matter. Now, I know that seems contradictory to my previous statement about how, like, I really don't give a fuck how you feel about what I'm about to tell you. It doesn't change what I'm about to say. That's not the problem here. For you to tell me whatever you're going to say in response to what I said, regardless of how it makes me feel, I appreciate the honesty. But for you to decide that you are going to dismiss me, like my feelings don't matter whatsoever. And the thing that I had to muster up a lot of courage to tell you, for you to decide that my level of effort in being that raw and honest with you doesn't matter, that to me is humiliating. Because now what I did was I gave you a piece of myself. I gave you a piece of my soul and of my mind. I let you into my head, and you decided that that was a small price to pay. And I don't even get the same from you. You are going to, I want to give an example so you know what I'm really talking about. Let's say I say, you're speaking to your partner, person you're in a relationship with, and you say, you know what? I really didn't like that dinner with your mom on Sunday because when she said XYZ, it made me feel like she doesn't think that I'm good enough for you. And I don't like that because you didn't defend me whatsoever. And it made me feel like that's how you also feel about me. And then that person gets upset because they feel attacked in some way. They feel like, what do you mean? Are you trying to say I'm a bad person or whatever it is? And it's like, no, I'm not trying to say that, but I'm trying to tell you that this is how I feel and this is how that came off. So what the hell are we going to do about it to address it? Because sometimes even a simple explanation of why you did what you did and really addressing the problem can go a long way. But then they're like, you know what? Man, fuck you. I don't give a fuck about your opinion because that's not how I really am. I'm not a bad person. You out here, you being dramatic. Just get the fuck out of my face. Right now, what just happened is that instead of having a productive conversation about the problem at hand, which is I felt this way, please explain to me why you made me feel this way. So maybe if it's just a misunderstanding, we can get past it. You decided that you were going to take the information that I gave you. You were going to You were going to pry deep enough by asking me enough probative questions to find out why I feel how I feel and what is really the basis behind it. And instead of giving me something back, you dismissed me completely and then decided not to address the issue. So now I feel like I'm sitting there naked in front of you and you're just fully dressed and you walked out. That shit is corny. Okay, people who can't do that, you're immature. Are you allowed to take space during an argument because you need to collect what you're going to say? Or even during anything, any conversation, are you allowed to put a pin in it and get your bearings together before you address this, because maybe you are not the best at dealing with things on the spot? You sure are. But when that is not clear, when it's not like, listen, I can't do this right now, we're going to put a pin in this and we're going to talk about this at this time, I'm left feeling like I've given you way too much of myself. And that to me is embarrassing, because I feel like I'm old enough that I should either be around people who give me the same energy, or I should know when to pull my punches and when to be that vulnerable with anybody. If I know that you're somebody, and this is really the kind of person that I am, if I know that you are somebody that is not going to bother putting in the same effort into any type of conversation because you're so wrapped up with your head 2.5 centimeters up your ass over your own opinion that you don't even care to listen to anybody else, I'm not even going to be honest with you anymore. And that's not the sense that I'm going to start lying to you. I'm just not really going to tell you how I feel about anything anymore, because that shit, shit. If you're not somebody important to me, if I don't got ties with you, if I don't got nothing keeping me here, keeping this relationship together, and this is in all circumstances, a friendship, anything like that, then I'm sorry, player, but I'm just cutting you out of my life, because I can't handle people like that. I really can't. Now, I am guilty of having been in conversations that, I don't want to talk about it either, because I feel like it'll get me so frustrated that my head will goddamn explode. But I do find a way to acknowledge how you feel and say, listen, this isn't something that I want to get into, because I feel like we're not going to see eye to eye, because this is my point of view and this is your point of view. And I absolutely refuse to give in, because I know how I feel. I've considered your point of view, and to me, it's just not right. People are under the misunderstanding that if you don't agree with the opinion that I shared, that somehow that means that you don't understand it. I can't understand something and not agree with you. And I think that just that level of honesty. Oh man, another humiliating moment in my adult life was when I mentioned this several podcasts ago, that I got to this point where I was literally, as an adult, I was lying for this attention that I thought that would fill this hole that I had. And it wasn't doing shit for me. It was just like, it was like active storytelling. Like, it was just something to make myself seem more interesting. And it really wasn't. What it was doing was making a fucking mess out of my life. And then in order for me to move past that, where I was like, yo, I can't be doing this shit anymore. That shit is corny. That shit is wild and mature of me. Like, I don't understand why I feel like I need to be that way. That's not just a sign of immaturity. It's a sign of mental health deficit. Because why do I feel like I need to make up things about myself that are not true, and actually don't even paint me in that positive of a light, just to get attention from people that really don't fucking matter? It was embarrassing to me, because I'm like, I'm too old for this shit. Why haven't I learned yet that if nobody likes me for who I am, as I am, you can go fuck yourself? I don't need you in my life. And for me, that was embarrassing, because then what I had to do in order to get better, in order to get past that place and still retain the people in my life that, for example, there were things that I lied to my best friend about. And in order for me to move past that and to be like, you know what? I just got to be myself, and fuck it. If she doesn't like it, she doesn't like it. If she does, well, then I guess she knows me a little bit better now. I had to sit there and think of every lie I had told her and tell her that it was a lie. And we've been friends for like 13 years now. So that was, man, I went back deep. I went like back to high school. And I told her about everything I'd ever lied about, because I felt like we had only become friends because, which probably isn't true, because I felt like I was a really interesting person because some of the lies that I told, and it wasn't. And these things that I went through, I'm like, I don't even understand why I lied about some of these things. But it really was because it came from a different place. It came from a place of where I was not okay with the kind of person that I was, and I wanted to be anybody but myself. Because myself as it is, I mean, I guess I'm pretty boring. Not that I've experienced so much shit, not so much. I've got plenty to talk about. But at the time, I couldn't handle it. And it's like the best stories. You ever watch a TV show or a movie and just be like, damn, a lot of this conflict could have been resolved if, somebody would have just told the truth. Or if, XYZ would have happened. I got to that point in my life where it was just like conflict creates interesting plot lines. So let me create this conflict. Again, none of these things that I lied about were actually positive. Like, they weren't like, oh, I won the Pulitzer Prize. It was more like, ah ha ha ha, I cheated on my boyfriend, which I really didn't, because I don't even fucking go out and I don't do anything and nobody talks to me because I'm such a fucking recluse. Well, let me go ahead and tell my best friend and create this conflict that I, cheated on my boyfriend, so, she could think that, she could ask me questions about what I'm gonna do and how did it came about and why did I make that decision. And it was so fucking dumb. It was ridiculously dumb. And again, it still created so many problems with me because at some point I became the girl who cried wolf. And it was just like, I wonder how many people in my life think about what, second guess anything that I say that's actually interesting now or actually creating conflict in my life now. How many people assume that that is the truth or not? I don't know. I think that we all need to take a look at ourselves and decide, the little shit just doesn't matter. There are other things that really, humiliation just carries a different fucking meaning as you get older, Oh, that's enough. It is humiliating how much I revealed about myself in this podcast, but not really, because I feel like everybody here knows me just a little bit better. So that being said, I hope this was a good start off to your week. This was slightly longer than I wanted it to be. And stay tuned for Wednesday's episode. So signing off, please be sure to go ahead and check my website, www.spillinganxietea.com, or follow me on Twitter, TikTok, or Instagram at powherpoetry, POWHER_poetry. Until Wednesday, guys.